If you're buying an estate car, you want something that's practical and sensible. So you go for a diesel engine, right? Not according to Toyota. The company that brought you the Prius has put that same hybrid technology into an estate, the Auris Touring Sports.
This isn't the first hybrid estate car, but it is the first in the medium class, and that puts it up against some strong rivals, cars like the Ford Focus, Kia Ceed and Volkswagen Golf.
Prices for the Touring Sports are competitive, starting at £15,500 for the 1.3 petrol. The hybrid costs from £21,000, about £1,100 more than the equivalent Auris hatchback.
But hang on a minute, Toyota also sells a diesel version of this car. So how does the hybrid stack up? I'm not sure what the sports in its name refers to, but like the Prius, or in fact any Toyota, the Auris is very easy to drive. Its steering is light, the gearbox is automatic, and all the controls are within easy reach. At low speeds you can cruise silently along using battery power only. It's a strangely calming experience, even if you're just crawling in a traffic jam.
Hit the open road and the batteries take a back seat, providing a welcome boost for the 1.8 litre petrol engine when needed. In fact, the instant torque or pulling power of the electric motor makes the Auris hybrid feel a bit like, well, like a diesel.
But if the hybrid's at its best at low speeds and around town, it's worst on the motorway, where this CVT gearbox holds the engine at constant revs if you come up to a long hill or if you accelerate. Just listen to this. It's quite a drony noise, not very pleasant at all.
Hybrid fuel economy suffers on the motorway too. We'll come back to that in a minute.
With the battery pack under the rear seat, there's a claimed 530 litres in here. That's about halfway between the Focus and Golf. And you can triple that space by folding the back seats down with these levers. Easy.
Which measures every car's boot space in our lab. Click the link to find out more about how we test.
So coming back to hybrid versus diesel, we already know that hybrids are best around town, and while we haven't fully tested this Auris yet, the Prius managed more than 100 miles per gallon in the urban part of our fuel economy test. No diesel can match that. The hybrid also makes most sense as a company car. Its super low CO2 emissions mean you'll pay just 10% tax compared to 16% for the diesel.
But if you're a sales rep who spends your life in the fast lane, the 1.4 diesel is more refined and will probably be more efficient. Plus the diesel's about £1,500 cheaper in the first place. You'll also need the diesel if you want to tow a caravan. Hybrids simply aren't designed to tow.
Whichever Auris you choose, you'll benefit from Toyota reliability, which was rated excellent in the latest Which Car survey. So, hybrid or diesel? You pays your money and takes your choice. But is the Auris better than a Focus or Golf? Well, not to drive, certainly, but it is better value and comes with a much longer warranty, so it looks like a pretty safe bet. So there we have it, the Toyota Auris Touring Sports, a very practical and sensible car.
Click here to read our first drive of the Auris Touring Sports, or read our full lab test of the previous Auris Hybrid and our top 10 estate car buying tips. Peugeot has taken 20 years to come up with a successor to the 205 GTI, the car many consider the greatest hot hatch of all time.
And here it is, the 208 GTI. Now at first glance this car doesn't look much different to a regular 208.
Look a bit closer though and you'll spot the red Go Faster stripe under the grille, 17-inch alloys inside bigger wheel arches, and the GTI badge on the C-pillar, a deliberate nod to the 205.
Can it live up to the legend? Let's find out.
The 208 GTI costs around £19,000, the same as a Renault Sport Clio, but £2,000 more than Ford's new Fiesta ST. Its 1.6 litre turbo engine comes from the Mini Cooper S, but is tuned to produce 197 brake horsepower. That's enough for 0 to 62 in 6.8 seconds.
I actually used to own a 205 GTI, and I've got fond memories of driving it down country roads like this, and less fond memories of losing the back end in a corner and ending up in a field full of sheep. There are no such worries with this though. It's a softer, less edgy feeling car with a tendency to understeer or run wide if you push it too hard in a bend. Plus there's standard stability control to keep you safe.
Which puts every car through a high-speed swerve test to assess its handling at the limit. Click here to find out more about how we test.
Fortunately, the Peugeot's still a lot of fun to drive. The steering's light, but you get plenty of feedback about what the front wheels are doing, and this 6-speed manual gearbox feels slick. The ride isn't bad for a hot hatch either, although it is much firmer than the regular 208.
Claimed fuel economy is 47.9 miles per gallon, but other 208s fell well short of the claims when we put them through our own, more realistic tests. Read our Peugeot 208 full review to learn more.
There's no shortage of 80s red stripes inside the GTI either. They're on the door handles, the steering wheel, even on the seat belts. But this tablet-style touchscreen is bang up to date, and it includes a built-in DAB radio. It's not the most intuitive system to use though, and you don't get a CD player.
We love the standard leather sport seats, but the tiny steering wheel divides opinion. Some love its go-kart feel, but others find it hard to see the instruments over the top. Definitely a case of try before you buy.
Let's not forget the hatch in hot hatch though. This is a practical car with room for 2 adults in the back and boot space on par with rivals like the Fiesta. As for the hot, the Peugeot certainly feels quick, but you don't need to rev it hard like the old 205. There's plenty of mid-range turbocharged punch, and that's the kind of performance you can use all the time. It's just a shame it doesn't sound a bit more inspiring though, despite that twin exhaust pipe.
Peugeot reliability is another more serious concern. Click here to read the results of the Which Car survey, the largest in the UK.
After a series of disappointing Peugeot GTIs, the 208 finally feels like a car that's worthy of the badge. I've really enjoyed driving it.
Yes, on the right road the 205 is still more fun, but I'd rather live with the 208 day to day.
Besides, it's hardly a fair fight anyway. Buyers today demand so much more in terms of comfort, space, technology and safety, and the 208 ticks all those boxes. Retro red stripes or not, it's a thoroughly modern hot hatch, but I can't see it ever becoming an icon.
Click here to read our review of the Peugeot 208, plus 2 of the GTI's key rivals, the Ford Fiesta ST and Volkswagen Polo GTI.